I was looking at the streaming numbers for the past year, and it is honestly staggering. We constantly tell ourselves that we're living in this golden age of television. We
Yeah.
talk about Succession, The Bear, Severance, high art, the stuff we put on our dating profiles to signal that we're sophisticated.
It's the intellectual flex.
Yeah.
I enjoy prestige dramas and hard-hitting documentaries.
Exactly. But then you look at the actual data, the raw minutes viewed, and there's this massive, unignorable beast sitting in the corner.
Reality TV.
Reality TV, it's pervasive. It is absolutely everywhere. And the standard defense mechanism we all use is always the same. Oh, it's just trash. It's my guilty pleasure. I turn my brain off when I watch it.
The junk food defense.
Yeah,
I know it's bad for me, but it tastes good, so don't judge me.
right. But that defense is essentially a shield, isn't it? If we label it trash, we don't have to analyze it. We don't have to take it seriously. But looking at the stack of research we have for today, I think that is a dangerous mistake.
A huge mistake.
Because if you actually peel back the layers, and we are going to peel back a lot of layers today, reality TV isn't an escape from our reality. It's a mirror.
A funhouse mirror.
A funhouse mirror, for sure, but it reflects the economic anxieties, the gender wars, and the digital loneliness that define exactly how we live right now.
It's a huge mistake to dismiss it, because these shows are not accidental. They are engineered. And that's what we're doing today. We're not recapping who hooked up with whom or, who threw a drink at a dinner party.
No.
We are deconstructing the machinery. We're looking at hits like Love is Blind and Love Island, and even dipping into Asian dramas to see how these shows are actually sophisticated engines.
Engines for what?
Engines that enforce strict economic theories, police how men and women are allowed to behave, and ultimately monetize our own isolation.
It is a heavy stack today, but a really fascinating one. We have a master's science thesis that dissects Netflix's Love is Blind through the lens of political science, specifically looking at neoliberalism.
Yeah, that one's a heavy hitter. And then we have a sociological study on the mechanics of, and this is a great phrase, manufactured emotion and toxicity in ITV's Love Island.
Right. And to show this isn't just a Western phenomenon, we have a really interesting investigative piece and survey from My Dramalist regarding audience reactions to villains.
Specifically female versus male villains.
Exactly, in Asian dramas. And to top it all off, a truly sobering report from The Guardian on the hard data behind the online abuse we hurl at these contestants.
Yeah.
The mission today is to connect these dots. We want to understand the reality TV to influencer pipeline, why we forgive toxic men but absolutely demonize messy women, and the part that really hit me hard, how we, the audience, are basically performing unpaid labor every time we tweet about these shows.
So if you think you're just watching people fall in love in pods or by a pool, think again. We're going to see how the sausage is made, and it might change how you watch TV forever.
Okay, so let's start with the big one, Love is Blind. Specifically, this thesis by Sophia Ipfabacher. She throws around this term neoliberalism a lot. Now, usually when I hear that, I think of economics.
Right.
I think of the 80s, Reagan, Thatcher, free markets, deregulation.
Supply and demand graphs, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So how does that apply to two people crying in a pod because they can't see each other's faces? It feels like a category error.
And this is where we have to broaden our definition. And this is crucial for the whole deep dive today. Apfelbacher explains that in this context, neoliberalism isn't just an economic policy or a tax bracket. It's a governing rationality.
A governing rationality. Okay, let's unpack that. What does that actually mean for the average person?
It means taking market values, so competition, efficiency, risk assessment, return on investment, and installing them into every single area of human life.
Every area.
Every area, including the most private, intimate parts. The goal of the good neoliberal citizen, as the thesis puts it, is to be completely self-sufficient. You're an entrepreneur of the self.
So you're the CEO of You, Inc.
Precisely. You are responsible for your own success, your own failure, and your own happiness. You don't look to the state for support. You don't look to a broad community. You look to yourself and your immediate family unit.
So if you fail?
If you fail, it's not because the system is broken or the economy is rigged. It's because you made a bad investment. It's because you didn't hustle hard enough.
And Love is Blind takes this logic and applies it directly to marriage, which, when you say it out loud, makes total terrifying sense. The pods are basically a market efficiency tool.
It's speed dating on steroids. It strips away the so-called inefficiencies of physical appearance and the messiness of traditional dating to get straight to the transaction.
The deal.
The deal. The show portrays marriage not just as a romantic ending, but as a status symbol and a necessary step toward upward mobility.
That phrasing upward mobility is so interesting in a romance context. It sounds so cold.
But look at the dialogue in Season 1, which the thesis analyzes. Marriage is constantly framed as the only path to not being alone. It's presented as the ultimate sign of maturity and stability. If you aren't married, the show subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, implies you are failing at adulthood. You are a distressed asset in the marketplace.
I remember distinct conversations where contestants would say things like, I'm ready to build an empire, or I need a partner to build a life with. It sounded less like I want to be in love and more like a merger and acquisition meeting.
Because in a neoliberal world, it is a merger. The thesis argues that as social safety nets crumble, as we have less job security, crazy expensive healthcare, less community support, the nuclear family becomes the ultimate unit of safety.
Your last line of defense.
It's your only line of defense. You have to marry well to survive economically. The household replaces the state.
That raises the stakes massively. It explains why the pressure feels so life or death on these shows. It's not just heartbreak on the line, it's economic precarity.
Yeah.
If you choose wrong, you aren't just sad, you're broke and unsafe.
And this brings us to the gender roles. Because if marriage is a market transaction, men and women bring different currencies to the table. The thesis highlights a really stark contrast in how value is demonstrated on the show.
I think I know where you were going with this. The houses.
The houses. Think about Barnett and Cameron from Season 1. What was their big flex when they brought the women home for the first time?
It was the tour, the grand tour. Here is my house, here's my backyard, here is my fence. It was very distinct.
It was a literal exhibition of assets. Homeownership signals stability, safety, and the ability to provide. It makes them a safe investment in this marketplace of love.
Okay, so they're the safe investment. Now, contrast that with Amber from Season 1. Do you remember her storyline regarding finance?
Oh, vividly. It was one of the big dramatic tension points of the entire season. She had student debt, and the show made a huge deal out of it.
A massive deal.
It was a defining moment. Amber revealed she had significant student loan debt. Now, pause for a second. In the real world, student debt is a systemic crisis.
Millions of people have it.
Millions. It's a policy failure, a structural issue. But how did this show frame it?
They framed it as a dirty little secret, like she had a gambling problem or a criminal record. Barnett looked like he was auditing her. It was framed as Amber is irresponsible.
Exactly. That is the neoliberal lens at work.
Yeah.
Her debt wasn't a systemic problem. It was a personal moral failing. It made her a risky investment. The show completely ignores the systemic context, that college is expensive, and focuses solely on individual responsibility.
It's blaming the individual for the structural problem. It's classic.
Yeah.
And the show creates this conundrum. The world is scary and expensive, so you need to find a husband who owns a house to replace the safety net the government doesn't provide.
Perfect summary. You replace the state with a husband. But there's a second layer to this whole economy. We've talked about the marriage market inside the show.
Right.
But what about the market outside the show? The influencer assembly line.
This is the part that always makes me cynical. We all know they're there for the Instagram followers. We roll our eyes at it.
We do, but Affelbacker calls this the demotic turn. Demotic meaning of the people. We used to have celebrities who had specific talents, singing, acting, playing basketball.
Yeah, a skill.
A skill. Now we have celebrities whose only talent is performing authenticity.
Being real, being relatable.
Exactly. But here's the catch, and the source data backs this up. To really succeed in the influencer market post-show, you need continuity. You need the narrative to continue. The couples who stay together, like Lauren and Cameron or Amber and Barnett, their follower counts absolutely dwarf the ones who break up.
So staying married is literally a business strategy.
It pays dividends.
Yeah.
The viewers, that is us, we invest emotionally in the love story.
Yeah.
If the couple stays together, they validate our investment. We feel good. We trust them.
And because we trust them.
They can sell us FabFit fun boxes and teeth whiteners.
Right. And I've noticed a specific aesthetic shift too, especially with the women who get married on the show. Their social media feeds pivot almost overnight. Beige. Everything becomes beige. The perfect living room, the neutral tones, the date night outfits, the perfectly plated dinner, it all looks the same.
That's the aspirational content. They are selling the fantasy of the good life. But notice what that fantasy is. It's a private domestic fantasy. Right. It's, look at my perfect home, look at my perfect husband. It reinforces that neoliberal ideal that happiness is found in private consumption and the nuclear family.
It isn't, look at this community garden we built, or look at this protest we went to. It is, look at my kitchen island.
Precisely. And we cannot overlook the timing here. Season 1 of Love is Blind aired in February and March of 2020.
Right as the world locked down.
That context is massive.
Yeah.
The thesis argues that the COVID-19 pandemic increased the value of parasocial relationships, those one-sided bonds we have with media figures.
We were all stuck in our own pods, in a way.
We were terrified, isolated, and lonely. And here comes a show about people isolated in pods seeking connection without physical contact. It mirrored our reality perfectly.
It was almost too perfect.
Viewers turned to these authentic reality stars for a sense of connection. A simulacrum of community.
A simulacrum, a simulation. Because we couldn't see our real friends, we adopted these TV friends.
And because we were so vulnerable at that moment, the bond was stronger, we latched onto them, and that made their transition to influencers even more lucrative. Yeah. We wanted to believe the fairy tale because our real world was falling apart.
That explains the intensity of the fandom. We weren't just watching a show, we were self-medicating with it.
We really were.
So Love is Blind sells us the neoliberal dream of the private, safe household. But let's pivot now to the UK and Love Island. Because if Love is Blind is about the success of the market, the study by Alicia Denby suggests Love Island is about the raw extraction of resources.
Yes.
And the resource being extracted is emotion.
Denby's study is brutal, honestly. She uses a term borrowed directly from the adult film industry to describe what reality TV producers are looking for: the money shot.
Okay, let's unpack that. In this context, what is the money shot?
In reality TV, the money shot is the climactic, spectacular display of emotion. It's the breakdown. It's the tears, the screaming, the table flip. And Denby argues that producers deliberately manufacture situations to get this shot, usually at the expense of women.
The example that stands out from the source is Donnie Dyer from season 4.
It is a textbook example of emotional exploitation. Donnie was the sweetheart of the season. Everyone loved her. She was coupled with Jack. She was happy. She was secure.
And therefore, boring television.
Exactly. Stability doesn't rate well. So the producer sent Jack to a separate Villa Casa Amor and then showed Donnie a video clip.
But the clip was misleading, right? It wasn't the full story.
Completely. They showed her a video of Jack reacting to an ex-girlfriend being there, but they edited out the part where he stayed loyal. They edited out the part where he slept outside on the daybed, where he talked about how much he missed Donnie.
Wow.
They deliberately stripped away all of the context to make it look like he was betraying her.
And naturally, she broke down. She was sobbing in the diary room.
And that was the money shot. They manipulated her distress to spike the ratings. The goal wasn't to document reality. It was to manufacture a breakdown.
And it isn't just the producers doing this. The source talks about how the male contestants use this dynamic against the women, specifically through gaslighting.
This is a pervasive pattern Denby identifies. It connects back to the trope of the crazy woman. A man acts deceptively. The woman reacts with valid, justifiable emotion, anger, suspicion, tears. And what does the man do?
He calls her psycho, or paranoid, or childish.
He invalidates her reaction to protect himself. The source lists specific examples. Jordan Hames in season 5. He was pursuing another woman, India, right in front of his partner Anna.
I remember this. It was shocking.
When Anna confronted him, validly, he hit her with, "Am I not allowed to have a conversation?"
Oh, that makes my blood boil. It's that calm, why are you so upset tone when they are actively betraying you.
It's a power move. It frames the woman as the irrational, emotional one, and the man as the logical, calm one. You see with Adam Collard in season 4 smirking while Rosie Williams is pouring her heart out, telling her she's looking into everything.
When she was absolutely right.
She was 100% correct.
Oh.
Or Michael Griffiths blaming Amber Gill for his own infidelity, calling her childish.
It is forcing the woman into that money shot role so the man can play the rational observer. But there's another double standard the source highlights, and that is regarding sex.
Oh, the sexual double standard on Love Island is staggering. It's like something out of the 1950s. For the men, sexual conquest is currency. In season 4, they literally had a do-bit society.
The do-bit society. It sounds like a secret club in a high school locker room.
It was. The men would gather to discuss what sexual acts bits they had done the night before. It was a bonding ritual.
Yeah.
It built their masculine status and hierarchy. The more you did, the higher your status.
But for the women, I'm guessing it's the opposite.
For the women, sexual agency is a liability. Look at Maura Higgins in season 5. She was sex positive, open about her desires, very confident, and because of that, the men and some of the women assumed she was easy or promiscuous.
I remember this. She had to defend her body count.
She revealed she had only had 5 sexual partners, and people were shocked. She practically had to present a resume to prove she wasn't a bad girl. The takeaway from the study is stark. Men get status from sex, women get shame.
It's the Madonna whore complex played out on primetime television for millions of people to see and internalize.
Precisely. If a woman is dominant or vocal about sex, she is seen as unruly or a man-eater.
You know, it would be easy to say, well, that is just British tabloids, or
Yeah.
that is just American reality TV. But our next source takes us global. We're looking at an investigation from My Drama List regarding Asian dramas. And it turns out the villain problem is universal.
This broadens the scope significantly. This isn't just a reality TV issue. It's a narrative issue embedded in how we tell stories globally. The source author surveyed drama watchers, avid fans, and the results were overwhelming.
What were the numbers?
24 out of 28 participants agreed. Female villains are hated significantly more than male villains.
24 out of 28. That is huge. Why? What is the difference?
It comes down to motivation and framing. Think about the classic male villain in these dramas. He's usually powerful, he has a tragic backstory, maybe he's avenging his family, or he was betrayed, or he's building an empire. He has logical, practical motives.
And he's usually hot.
That helps, undeniably. The survey respondents admitted that. They want to fix him. He's misunderstood.
Of course.
But the female villain, she's rarely given that depth. Her motivation is almost always relational. She is petty, she is jealous, she's obsessed with a man.
She is the evil ex-girlfriend or the evil mother-in-law. Her whole world revolves around another person's relationship.
Exactly. She is trying to ruin the female lead. She's written as one-dimensional. One respondent in the survey put it perfectly. If a woman is a villain, they're a homewrecker. If a guy comes and tries to destroy the peace, the woman is weak, and they need men to come and save them.
It sounds like the crazy woman trope from Love Island again. It's the same pattern.
But it's the exact same trope, just scripted. But here's the kicker, and this is the part that's really uncomfortable. The source highlights internal misogyny.
What do they mean by that?
The audience for these dramas is predominantly female, yet they judge the female characters much, much harsher.
That is the double punishment mentioned in the article.
Yes, the idea is that women are expected to be sugar and spice.
Mm.
When a female character deviates from that, when she's aggressive or selfish or messy, it causes cognitive dissonance for the viewer.
We don't know how to process it.
We don't know how to process a woman who isn't nurturing, so the reaction is intense hatred.
This instantly makes me think of Jessica from Love is Blind Season 1. She was the ultimate villain.
Oh, she was public enemy number 1. And why? Because she was messy. She drank too much wine. She was unsure about Mark. She still had feelings for Barnett. She was complex and flawed.
And Mark.
Mark was the hero because he played the loyal dog role. He's a nice guy. But if you look at the post-show details that have come out, Mark allegedly had multiple affairs and was not the angel he appeared to be.
But on the show, that didn't matter.
No, on the show. Jessica was the villain because she disrupted the good neoliberal citizen narrative. She wasn't settling down quietly. She wasn't a sure investment.
It really shows that we, as the audience, are conditioned to police women's behavior way more strictly than men's. And speaking of the audience, this brings us to our final and maybe most disturbing section. We need to talk about us, the viewers.
We are not passive observers in this ecosystem, not at all. We are active participants. And the Guardian report gives us the hard numbers on what that participation looks like.
They analyzed over 90,000 posts and comments about Love Island, and the gender gap in abuse is just staggering.
It is. 26% of tweets mentioning a female contestant were abusive. For men, it was only 14%.
Almost double. That's not a small difference.
It's huge. And the nature of the abuse is different, too. The report found that abuse against women attacks their mental stability. They're called mentally unstable, attention-seeking, psychotic. It circles back to that crazy woman trope again and again.
Whereas abuse against men,
It attacks their strength. They're called weak, pathetic, simp.
it's policing masculinity, and we have to mention the racial element here because it's crucial. The report is crystal clear. Women of color receive the most extreme, violent, and racist threats. It's a compounding toxicity.
It's just horrifying. But here's where it gets really interesting to me. Beyond just the awful trolling, it's about the economic structure of being a fan. The thesis by Effelbacher introduces this concept of communicative capitalism.
This is a crucial concept to understand. We tend to think that if we go online and write a tweet about how much we hate a villain or how much we love a couple, we're just expressing ourselves. We're venting. Right. It's my opinion. I'm just shouting into the void. It doesn't mean anything.
But under communicative capitalism, the content of what you say doesn't actually matter to the platform or the network. What matters is that you said something.
Engagement is engagement. Good, bad, it's all the same.
Exactly. Whether you're a fan praising a couple or an anti-fan writing a 20-tweet thread about how much you hate Jessica, you are generating data. You are generating engagement metric.
And that data is valuable.
Incredibly, that engagement allows the networks to sell ads at higher rates. It allows the social media platforms to harvest your data.
So even hate watching is profitable for them.
Hate watching is immensely profitable. The thesis argues that the audience provides immaterial labor. We are marketing the show for free. We're casting the next season by telling them what archetypes we react to. We are doing the work.
We are prosumers, producing and consuming at the same time.
And getting paid $0 for it, while the platforms and the networks made millions of dollars.
But they make us feel like we have power, right? Love Island has the app. You can vote. You decide who stays. It feels democratic.
That is the illusion of democracy. The thesis distinguishes between demotic meaning of the people, involving ordinary people, and democratic meaning power to the people.
And these shows are demonic.
Very demonic. But they are not democratic.
Because the producers control the edit.
They control the edit, they control the money shot, they control who gets airtime, who gets a sympathetic backstory. We have the illusion of agency. We feel like we are voting a tyrant off the island. But really, we're just clicking buttons in a casino that they own. The house always wins.
So let's synthesize this deep dive. Because we've covered a lot of ground. We started with the idea that Love is Blind is a neoliberal fairy tale, teaching us that the nuclear family is our only economic life raft.
Then we saw how Love Island manufactures emotion, specifically female distress, to keep us hooked while punishing women for having sexual agency.
We looked at Asian dramas to see that this villain paradox, hating the messy woman while forgiving the tragic handsome man, is a global narrative problem.
And finally, we realized that we, the audience, are the unpaid laborers keeping this whole machine running, often by participating in the very abuse and stereotyping we claim to hate.
It's a bit of a trap, isn't it? A real catch-22. The thesis uses this term cruel optimism. Can you explain that?
Cruel optimism is a concept from the theorist Lauren Berlant. It describes when you are attached to a fantasy like the good life, the perfect marriage, the influencer fame, that is actually an obstacle to your flourishing.
How is it an obstacle?
Because the system makes those things nearly impossible to achieve for most people, but we keep chasing them. We keep watching these shows, hoping to see the fantasy realized, even though the shows themselves reinforce the systems that make us lonely and insecure in the first place.
We're watching a simulation of connection because we're starved for real connection.
And the more we watch, the more we feed the algorithm that monetizes our isolation. It's a perfect feedback loop.
So here is the provocative thought I want to leave you with today. If we know all this, if we know that our engagement, even our angry, critical engagement, is unpaid labor that fuels this machine, what power do we actually have?
That is the question, isn't it? Can you watch creatively? Can you watch critically in a way that resists the narrative? Or does every click, every tweet, every view just grease the gears of the machine?
Is it possible to enjoy the show without being a worker for the show? Or is the only way to win not to play?
I don't have the answer. But I know the next time I see a villain break down on screen, I'm going to be thinking about who is behind the camera, who did the edit, and what exactly they're trying to sell me.
Same here. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us. It might ruin your next binge watch, but hey, at least you'll know what is really happening. Look closer next time you turn on the TV.
See you next time.